Alrighty, so we're back at it again. Today we're starting in Genesis 10. I had a good idea that was given to me to take some notes. And I kind of wanted to modify that and take notes while doing it, Because I've read through this before already, but I think it might be a good idea to take some notes through it so y'all kind of see what I think and process that I'm having too. But let's get straight into it. Alrighty, the Table of Nations. This is the account of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's sons, who themselves had sons after the flood. Oh wow, they even... I forgot about this part. They even named their tribes after them. But anyways, the Japhethites. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, that's a common name. Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, and Meshech, and Tyrus. The sons of Gomer. Oh my gosh, so we're going over all the sons. I forgot about this part. Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarma, the sons of Javan. It's going to be a tough part for me. Elisha, Tarshish, the Kittites, it's kind of funny, and the Rodanites. From these, the maritime peoples spread out into their territories by their clans within their nations, each with its own language. Oh, okay. The Hamites, the sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt. Oh, okay, wow. Put in Canaan. Oh, wait a second. So we're back to this. The sons of Cush, Siba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. The sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Denan. Cush was the father of Nimrod, who became a mighty warrior on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. That is why it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The first center of this kingdom, of his kingdom, were Babylon, Uruk, Akkad, and Calneh in Shinar. From that land, he went to Assyria, where he built Nineveh. Nineveh. I can't speak. Whatever. Rehoboth, Ur, and Kala, and Rezin. Yeah, you're just gonna have to bear with me on these names. Which is between Nineveh. I think I'm saying it right. And Kala, which is the great city. Egypt was the father. The Ludites, Enamites, Lehabites, Naphutites, Patrusites, Casrulites, from whom the Philistines came, and the Capharites. Oh my goodness. There's an I for everything. Canaan was the father, Sidon his firstborn, and the Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Gargashites, Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Avadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. Man, they really didn't think this through. Oh my goodness. Later, the Canaanite clans scattered, and the borders of Canaan reached from Sidon toward Gerar as far as Gaza, and then toward Sodom, Gomorrah. Okay, those are some common names that we know. Admah, Zeborim, as far as Lasha. These are the sons of Ham by their clans and languages, and their territories and nations. The Semites, sons, were also born to Shem, whose older brother was Japheth. Shem was the ancestor of all the sons of Eber. The sons of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Meshech. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah, and Shelah the father of Eber. 2 sons were born to Eber. One was named Peleg, because in his time the earth was divided. His brother was named Joktan. Joktan was the father of Almadad, Sheleph, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abidmiel, Sheba, or Ophir, I think it's Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were sons of Joktan. The region where they lived stretched from Mesha towards Sephar and the eastern hill country. These are the sons of Shem by their clans and languages and their territories and nations. These are the clans of Noah's sons according to their lines of descendant. Within their nations, from the nations spread out over the earth after the flood. So Genesis 10, main points. If I had to break this down to some main points, probably just one main point or a couple of sons of Noah and their descendants. That's just what I would. Apparently, I can't spell. There you go. Just forgot the C. But sons of Noah and their descendants. After that, the nations that I can't spell. Their line. Nations that come from their line. That'd be the two main points I break from this. I mean, as this whole thing starts, the table of nations, which well, actually, I'll just leave that like that. The table of nations. It's just a whole bunch of names that I cannot pronounce. But yeah, that's basically much what I can break that down to. Nothing much more to say than boring descendants, but good to know, good to know. So I think we'll just go straight to 11. All right, the tower. Oh, okay, here's a story that I haven't read in a while, but this is a good one. So, the Tower of Babel. I think we probably all know a bit about this story right here, but I like to think this is, maybe we could have talked to animals before. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a cool idea. Now, the whole world had one language and a common speech. Now, I assume this is kind of before, like I know back in chapter 10, it says they had different languages with their nations, each with his own. Yeah, see? So I'm going to say this is somewhere between, everyone breaking apart and having their own nations and stuff like Egypt and all that. That's what I'm going to say this time period is. Or at least before they start developing their own languages, and this is going to be kind of where that starts. But, because that's the first thing it says, that the whole world had one language and a common speech. So, as people moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. Yeah, so this is right before they settled in Shinar. Or is right when they are. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them together thoroughly." They used bricks instead of stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth." So, if you don't know the story of the Tower of Babel, we'll continue reading, but it's kind of where you see the downfall of this idea to make a name for ourselves. When things start to get about yourself, you start to stray away from God. I mean, that's just how it is. We're selfish beings. And I'll get more into this reason why I highlight this verse particularly. But let's keep going. But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, if as one people speak in the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other. I think this furthermore, let us, proves that God is not just, it's one, 3 in 1. And it's something like I said, in the first video I made about this, Genesis 1-4. We are not God. We can't envision this. But God is God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. 3 in 1. 3 different bodies, but also in one body. You may think, oh, why would God want to confuse their languages? Well, we'll keep reading. So the Lord scattered them let me just start that over. The Lord scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it is called Babel, Tower of Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. Kind of a short little story, but Tower of Babel. The people wanted to be like God. They wanted to make a name for themselves. They wanted to be on God's level. They thought if they could build a tall tower up to the sky and touch and be with God, they could be like God. So they could make a name for themselves. But that's not what God wants. God doesn't, He's not saying, we're not capable of being like God. We are puny ants compared to Him. So to want to be like Him, to desire to be like Him, that's not our goal. So because of that, God separated them. He scattered them because He showed them His power. All right, the people tried to be like God. They wanted to become God for themselves. I forgot that this story is a short little story. But now we're back to lineage, the fun stuff. From Shem to Abram. This is the account of Shem's family line. 2 years after the flood, when Shem was 100 years old, he became the father of Arphaxad, and after he became the father of Arphaxad, Shem lived 500 years and had other sons and daughters. When Arphaxad had lived 35 years, he became the father of Shelah, and after he became the father of Shelah, Arphaxad lived 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he became the father of Eber. And after he became the father of Eber, Shelah lived 403 years and had other sons and daughters. They lived like the same amount of age. When Eber had lived 34 years, he became the father of Peleg. After he became the father of Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he became the father of Reu. And after he became the father of Reu, Peleg lived 209 years and had other sons and daughters. When Reu had lived 32 years, he became the father of Shirug. And after he became the father of Shirug, Shirug had lived 30 years. Reu lived 207 years and had other sons and daughters. When Shirug had lived 30 years, he became the father of Nahor. And after he became the father of Nahor, Serug, am I saying that right? I think I was saying Shirug. Serug lived 200 years and had other sons and daughters. When Nahor lived 29 years, he became the father of Terah. After he became the father of Terah, lived 119 years and had other sons and daughters. After Terah had lived 70 years, he became the father of Abram, Noah, Nahor, and Haran. So he named his son after himself. And then there's Abram, and we see these names. Abram's family. This is the account of Terah's family line. Terah became the father of Abram. Okay. Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran became the father of Lot. Okay, Lot's a big name in here. We'll see that just a little bit, probably a couple chapters from now. While his father, Terah, was still alive, Haran died in Ur of the Chaldeans, in the land of his birth. Abram and Nahor both married. The name of Abram's wife was Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. She was the daughter of Haran, the father of both Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarah was childless because she was not able to conceive. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarah, the wife of his son Abram. Together they set out from Ur of the Chaldeans to go to Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. Terah lived 205 years, and he died in Haran. Alrighty. More spell. Descendants from, what was it? Shem to Abraham. Shem to Abraham, but soon to be Abraham, right? So Genesis 10, Genesis 11, just dumping names on you. Just gonna dump some more names on you, just like these 3 books too. So this is why the earlier books are tough to read. Why you'll see many people skip these, or at least skip the stories. Skip these parts. You don't hear these names often, right? But again, it's important to know these, even though it's boring. These to know the lineage, so that we know Jesus didn't just pop out of nowhere. They know he can't. God planned this. He planned each and every descendant. They made their own decisions, but God still blessed each line to be fruitful and abundant. But yeah, to break down Genesis 11, nothing too serious. Pretty serious. Tower of Babel, where every language gets scattered. People try to be like God. God so he scrambles their language. That's a good thing. God scrambles their language and scatters them. Then more descendants from Shem to Abram. Yeah, I think it's a good little break. Genesis 12. And we'll get back into some more story. What do we got here? It's the call of Abram. Now we get to some interesting stuff where it's not just names. Yeah, see? Hopefully I can break this down a little better than just names. Alright, and got some names that can actually say it too. The call of Abram. The Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." So God calls Abraham right here. First verse. Very important. "I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and I will be a blessing." And you will be a blessing, excuse me. "I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." So Abraham went as the Lord had told him, and Lot with him. Abraham was 75 years old. Okay, so he's an old guy. And you do got to take into account, now these people aren't living 900 years anymore. The last guy lived probably about 120, I think. The people before that, it went down from 500. Well, here's 900 to 500 to 200, and now it's down to 120, and now, just above the hundreds now. So these people aren't living, crazy years anymore. So that's still old. And you'll see that even Sarah, laughs at how old she is in a little bit. But so this is old. That's a pretty old task. Or a task asked to an old person. But yeah, 75 years old when he sent out from Haran. He took his wife Sarah and his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had accumulated and the people they had acquired in Haran. And they set out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Abram traveled through the land, and as far as the site of the great tree of Moreh at Shechem. At that time, the Canaanites were in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there he went on toward the hills east of Bethel and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord. Then Abram sent out and continued toward the Negev. Alright, Abram in Egypt. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to live there for a while, because the famine, I can't speak tonight. The famine was severe. As he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarah, "I know what a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife.' Then they will kill me and let you live." Alright, what do we see here? Abram was afraid. He was afraid. And what did he not do? He did not rely on God. And then what happens because of that? Bad things. You'll read that. Say you are my sister, so that I will be treated well for your sake, and my life will be spared because of you. When Abram came to Egypt, the Egyptians saw that Sarah was a very beautiful woman, and when Pharaoh's officials saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh. And she was taken into his palace. He treated Abram well for her sake. And Abram acquired sheep and cattle, male and female donkeys, male and female servants, and camels. But the Lord inflicted serious diseases on Pharaoh and his household because of Abram's wife Sarah. So Pharaoh summoned Abram. So Pharaoh summoned Abram. What have you done to me? He said. Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her to be my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and go. Then Pharaoh gave orders about Abram to his men, and they sent him on his way with his wife and everything he had. Now God did not approve of that, clearly. Abram caused pain upon someone else because of his decision, because of his untrusting in God. Actually, I forgot to write. Why doesn't it do that? But first point, God calls Abram. God calls Abram. And Abram does follow, and he listens. But, he's not perfect, and he makes a mistake here. A pretty big mistake that causes Pharaoh pain and afflictions and diseases. Pretty serious, right? And, I'm just writing the main points right here, but soon when you get some more deeper text, I'll write it out some more. But this is important to see, just because your mistakes don't have, or your decisions don't have consequences upon yourself, doesn't mean they don't have consequences upon other people, When you don't do the right thing, when you don't stand up, you may be costing someone else their life, or someone else their time, or someone else their salvation, So we must stand up and act different from the crowd. Not just that, listen to God, God is our greatest ally. Why should we doubt when God is our greatest ally? If God is for us, who can be against us? I think that just summons this right here. Abraham didn't believe that. This is some short chapters right here. Abram and Lot separate. So Abram went up from Egypt to the Negev. I think I'm saying that right. With his wife and everything he had. And Lot went with him. Abram had become very wealthy in livestock and silver and gold. So, both Abraham and Lot, they both have vastly riches. They're wealthy people. They got probably thousands of, well, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of camels, hundreds of servants, and, riches beyond comprehension. I don't know how they treat servants back then, but I don't think they treat servants like bad or anything. They're more of indentured servitude. You work because you couldn't pay someone off, so and God kept them in track. God doesn't. You saw in the previous chapter. Treat people right. And don't lie. Be responsible for your actions. But you have to keep reading. Let me write this out real quick. Genesis 13. Main points. So, keep it going. From the Negev, he went from place to place. He came to Bethel, to the place between Bethel and Ai, where his tent had been earlier, and where he had first built an altar. There Abram called on the name of the Lord. Now Lot, who was moving about with Abraham also had flocks and herds and tents, but the land could not support them while they stayed together, for their possessions were so great, and that they were not able to stay together. And quarreling arose between Abram's herders and Lot's. The Canaanites and the Perizzites were also living in the land at that time. So Abram said to Lot, "Let's not have any quarreling between you and me, or between your herders and mine, for we are close relatives. Is it not the whole land before you? Is not the whole land before you? Let's part company. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left." Lot looked around and saw the whole plain, the Jordan toward Zor, and was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's a good thing to point out because we're going to get in that story pretty soon. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of the Jordan and set out towards the east. The two men parted the company. Abraham lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain and pitched his tents near Sodom, where the people of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. God's going to call on Lot shortly, and he's going to, just like he called on Abraham, he's going to call on Lot to stand up and act better than the people that surround him. The Lord said to Abraham, after Lot had parted from him, "Look around from where you are to the north and to the south, to the north and south and to the east and west. All the land you see, I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted. Go walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you." So Abram went to live near the great trees of the Mamre at Hebron, where he pitched his tents. There he built an altar to the Lord. So this is just a short little chapter, but I think the title sums it up. Abraham and Lot separate. It's hard to type sometimes. Abraham and Lot separate, as well as God 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 blesses and gives them each much land and offspring. In case you didn't know, if God kind of says this phrase, I will give you as many offspring as the dust. Basically meaning, you can't count dust, right? Itty bitty, and there's billions of dust particles everywhere. So the offsprings are going to be great. The generations throughout the land from Abraham and Lot are going to be numerous. That's just what it means. That's how we can break it down right here. I think it's a good little, way to break this down. And I think we'll keep reading because that's a nice little short one right there. I think we'll finish up with this last one right here. Abraham rescues Lot. Genesis 14. We actually got through quite a few chapters today. The goal is not about just powering through chapters. It's about trying to understand what we're reading. And like I said before, I know we're kind of powering through these in a way, but a lot of these are just lineage. It's good to go back and look at that lineage in case you want to, draw the lines for that to Jesus. But now we're getting into kind of the juicy part of the story, the juicy part of Genesis again. We got the beginning, then we get separated by some lineage, and now we're back. Then we got Noah, then some more lineage, and now we're to Abraham and Lot. Or not Abraham, but Abram and Lot. So let's keep going. Abraham rescues Lot. At that time when Amraphel was king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elisar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim. My goodness. If they couldn't have picked harder names for me to pronounce. These kings went to war against Bera, king of Sodom, and Bersha, king of Gomorrah. So we got Sodom and Gomorrah. Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zor. All these latter kings joined forces in the valley of Siddim, that is the Dead Sea Valley. For 12 years they had been subject to Kedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Kedorlaomer the king and the kings allied with him and out to defeat the Rephaites in the Ashir Toroth Kernaim, the Suzites in Ham, and the Emites in Shaveh Kirithaim, and the Horites in the hill country of Seir, as far as the El Paran near the desert. I just hope I'm pronouncing at least 50% of these names correct, because holy cow, man. This is the hardest part in the Bible, I tell you. Then they turned back and went to the En Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and they conquered the whole territory of the Amalekites. Okay, I can say that one. As well as the Amorites, there we go, who were living in the Hezizon, Tamar. And the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, the king of Bela, that is Zor, marched out and drew up their battle lines in the valley of Siddim against Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goim, Amiraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elisar. 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and when the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some of the men fell into them, and the rest fled to the hills. The 4 kings seized all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food. Then they went away. They also carried off Abram's nephew Lot and his possessions, since he was living in Sodom. A man who had escaped came and reported this to Abram the Hebrew. Now Abram was living near the great tree of Mamre, the Amorite, a brother of Eshcol and Aner, all of whom were allied with Abram. When Abram heard that his relative had been taken captive, he called out the 318 trained men born in his household and went in pursuit as far as Dan. During the night, Abram divided his men to attack them and routed them, pursuing them as far as Habath, north of Damascus. He recovered all the goods and brought back his relative Lot and his possessions, together with the women and all the other people. After Abram returned from defeating Kedorlaomer and the kings allied with him, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, that is, the king's valley. Then Melchizedek, yeah, that sounds right actually, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High. And he blessed Abram, saying, Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand. Then Abram gave him 1/10 of everything. The king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people and keep the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, With raised hand I have sworn an oath to the Lord God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will accept nothing belonging to you, not even a thread or a strap of a sandal, so that you will never be able to say, I made Abram rich. I will accept nothing but what my men have eaten, and the share that belongs to the men who went with me to Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them have their share. Alrighty, so that's a good little point. Abram, rescues Lot. So, here we see what 4 kings against 5. So 4v5, 4 kings against 5 in the valley of Siddim. Let's see, I'm trying to break this down right here. I think the next thing we can break it down is right here where Abraham says this part. I'm gonna highlight this too. Abraham does not accept anything from the king of Sodom. So, what? Is that right? Oh yeah. This is different, right? Sodom. So, I think 3 points is good enough. Abraham rescues Lot. The whole chapter is about 4 kings against 5 in the valley of Siddim, which is Dead Sea, I believe. Then Abram does not accept anything from the king of Sodom. I think that's probably the most important part right here. This is a good part. This is a high point right here for Abram. He no longer accepts anything from Sodom because he knows how wicked they are, and he doesn't want to, have like Sodom or the king of Sodom have strings against him, holding him accountable, like being like, holding this thing above him, like I did this for you, I given you that, you owe me, that type of stuff, because he knew that he would use that against him most likely, because the king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah. I mean, we saw earlier in I think it was chapter 13. God said, or it was mentioned, Sodom and Gomorrah were wickedly evil. But yeah, I think we'll continue next time with the covenant, with the Lord's covenant with Abram. Here are our main bullet points for today. Genesis 10. Yeah, we'll write it Genesis 10 through. Actually, let me. I guess that makes the title of that. I actually like these notes. Yeah, Genesis 10 through 14. So we got the Lord's covenant right here. Oh, that's interesting. Lord's covenant with Abraham, Hagar, and Ishmael. Oh, I know them, yeah. Covenant of circumcision. Okay. 3 visitors. What did we get to? Oh, yeah. Okay. Sodom and Gomorrah is Genesis 19. Okay, so we still got a decent amount. Yeah. Let's say if you're trying to look at, break some more points up, add some more, add to this list, put them in the comments. Always good to discuss about this, but thank y'all for listening. And hope y'all have a blessed rest of y'all's night. And God is good all the time. Adios.